2 Native creators have been selected as 2024 MacArthur Fellows.
Not in Our Honor protests the Chiefs game. More on that coming up.
Welcome to Good Morning Indian Country. I'm Allison Levering.
And I'm Shia Blackcloud, coming to you live from Stauffer Flint Hall at the University of Kansas.
Today is Wednesday, October 9th. Hope you're all having a good day as we talk about news and current events from all over Indian Country.
This project is supported by the University of Kansas William Allen White School of Journalism and Mass Communications in partnership with the Scripps Howard Fund and donations by viewers like you.
It is a breezy morning here in Lawrence, Kansas. Here's Emma Coffey with the forecast. Emma?
Thanks, Allison. Well, as we get further into this midweek, in the second week of October, we aren't going to be seeing those October fall weather that we might have been expecting. As we get into the rest of this week, we are going to be seeing mainly sunny skies for the rest of this week, except into the weekend when those clouds will start to pop out. However, as we get further into the weekend, along with those clouds are going to come some much cooler temperatures, dipping all the way down into the mid to lower 60s. However, with that, we are also going to be seeing some much higher wind speeds and lower humidity levels. So while it's not feeling like fall just yet, it's definitely starting to head that way as we get into next week. Taking a look over our beautiful KU campus, today we aren't going to be seeing very many clouds in the sky. If we do see some clouds, they won't be happening until further into this evening. But this picture is pretty much what campus is going to be looking like for the most of today. Lots of sun, lots of blue sky to look at, no real clouds happening so far. Here in Lawrence, we are currently sitting at about 67 degrees. Once again, those sunny skies. Lower wind speeds currently sitting at about 7 miles per hour. However, with that lack of humidity that's currently sitting at about 37%, we aren't going to be feeling the warmer temperatures that we're going to be experiencing as we get further into the day. So especially this morning and into the evening, it might start to feel just a little bit cooler than maybe it actually is. As we take a look at our hourly planner, our high for today is going to peak at around 85 degrees, and that's occurring at around 5 p.m. After that, we're dropping back down into the 70s, all the way down to 63 at 10 p.m. Also, as we get further into the day, we're going to be seeing slightly more clouds occur as we get further into the night, but nothing too exciting happening as far as clouds. Now in a little bit, we'll talk about the effects of Hurricane Milton on certain reservation regions in Florida. But for now, back to you girls.
Pinagigi. Thanks for that, Emma. The topic of harmful mascotting is not new. It has been the focus of at least 2 major documentary films and has been debated and discussed at the professional, collegiate, and secondary school level for years.
And while some changes have been made at each of those levels, one organization says there's more work to be done. Gmic's Millie Favela headed to Kansas City to learn more about Not in Our Honor, their purpose, and their mission.
Thanks, Allison and Shia. It was a beautiful night for Monday Night Football in Kansas City, but not everyone was there to cheer on the hometown team.
For years, images of Indigenous people and culture have been used to define sporting teams. The Seminoles of Florida State University, the former Cleveland Indians, and, for one Kansas City organization, the Kansas City Chiefs. Founded in 2005, Not in Our Honor advocates against sporting mascots, symbols, images, and personalities derived from Indigenous culture. The Kansas City Indian Center is a proud coalition member, and its executive director, Galen Krauser, explains why these depictions are harmful.
It's been nearly 20 years since the American Psychological Association made the recommendation that all these mascots be removed from schools and from sports, and here we are still doing it. We know from the research that it increases implicit and explicit bias and increases racism against not just Native people, but all minority people. So we absolutely have to say something, because if we don't, then who's going to?
Not everyone was receptive to the group's message. Often, these stereotypical representations of the Indigenous community are justified as honoring Native peoples. Rhonda Lavaldo, a founder of Not in Our Honor, doesn't see it as an honor.
It's putting us in the past tense, and so So you're already making that use of that stereotyping and banishing to Native American. When we're here, we're part of this community.
Livaldo and other participants quietly hold signs outside Arrowhead Stadium's parking lot in hopes of educating football fans.
For Krauser and other participants, this is more than just a Monday night football game. As Kansas City seeks to become a global sporting destination, Krauser feels that the offensive mascotting takes away from what the city has to offer.
It's unfortunate that on the national stage and with the World Cup coming to Kansas City, the international stage, that the whole world is watching us be one of the last holdouts of these racial stereotypes. The time is now to make that change and really show people what Kansas City is about. Regardless of what they're called, what they might change their brand to, it would still be Kansas City's team. And we would all love to root for that.
Not in Our Honor is calling for the Kansas City football team to change its name, imagery, and branding to one that is more inclusive. Krauser hopes to see a future where all Kansas Cityans can support the sports team without compromising their cultural heritage.
I learned a lot just by listening to all the different conversations that are continuing to go on.
And as with many topics, opinions on this issue vary across the Indian country. For our next story, with just under a month left before Election Day, a reservation in Montana is fighting for equal voting access. 6 tribal citizens of the Fort Peck Reservation in Montana filed a lawsuit against state and county officials last month, claiming they don't have enough places to vote in person. Currently, the reservation citizens must drive 60 miles round trip to vote. The suit is calling for 2 satellite voting offices in their communities, so they won't have to make the long drive. The plaintiffs hope to have this issue settled ahead of the November election.
For those who live in Missouri, today is the last day to register to vote for the upcoming presidential election. The Kansas City Indian Center hosted a Taco About voting event where they helped attendees answer any questions they had about voting and provided Indian tacos.
We are out here registering voters, handing out KC voter guides. We're also doing voter surveys to try and get some information about people know how to access the polls, if they know what kind of ID requirements they need for Missouri.
Matheson made it clear that everyone was welcome to attend and get some sweet merch that the Kansas City Indian Center had designed for the event.
United Indian Nations of Oklahoma have registered hundreds of Native Americans to vote on its Warrior Up to Vote tour. The group has traveled to dozens of Native events across the state, encouraging Native communities to take action. The tour is meant to highlight their collective strength and determination. UINO's chairman Ben Barnes said giving Native Americans the power to vote allows communities to tackle issues like tribal sovereignty, education, and healthcare. In Kansas, the voter registration deadline is just a week away on October 15th to register. Visit your local election office to visit state's online voter registration website.
After the break, 2 Native creators have been selected as 2024 MacArthur Fellows. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. 2 Native creators have been selected as 2024 MacArthur Fellows, an award which recognizes, quote, extraordinary originality, dedication in their creative pursuits, and marked capacity for self-direction. Wendy Redstar and Sterling Harger are 2 of 22 fellows who received the $800,000 award this year.
Red Star, Absaloka Crow engages with archival materials to challenge colonial narratives. Harjo, Seminole, and Muskogee received the honor for his work telling stories about the daily lives of contemporary Native Americans with humor and deep affection. Notably, Res Dogs, the wildly popular show featuring a group of Indigenous teens and other notable characters. The MacArthur Foundation released this video where Harjo talks about his work.
It's important to uplift my community through story because I think the most powerful weapon to use against someone is to not believe that they are human. Telling stories is the most powerful way to show outside communities and outside people that you are human and that your life is worth something. My name is Sterling Harjo, and I'm a filmmaker. I like telling stories of all kinds. I do podcasts, I do documentary, I do thrillers, I do comedy. I use all of it as a tool to tell stories about the people I'm surrounded by. I grew up in Holdenville, Oklahoma, a very rural area. I was surrounded by storytellers. My family was large and encompassing, and everyone could tell a good story, and everyone could make you laugh. And they told it with humor and sadness and everything that you need to make a good story. As a kid, I just absorbed all of that growing up around a kitchen table. The history of Native people, because of Westerns and things in popular media and portrayals, is so watered down. If you look at Western movies, the damage that they did to our people, we were the literal zombies that were brainless, mindless. We were in the way of Western expansion. I created the show Reservation Dogs. It was a celebration of our community and humor, and told through the eyes of 4 teenage Native kids on the reservation in Oklahoma. Native humor, our humor is connected to tragedy and drama. Our humor is about survival, and that's why it works so well, with drama and comedy kind of butting up against each other. The fact that my kids can grow up with these examples of Native people struggling, loving, laughing, being human. They have these examples, and you can never take that away now. It'll be life-changing forever.
The historic press that published a Cherokee Advocate in Tahlequah is back in the hands of the Cherokee Nation. The Gilcrease Museum at the University of Tulsa repatriated the 149-year-old press to the nation back in August. Tribal leadership says having the printing press return to the tribe was a full circle moment, symbolizing an end to censorship of tribal media and the federal government's efforts to erase Native languages. The Cherokee Advocate was shut down by the federal government early in the 20th century, returned as a monthly paper in 1977, and rebranded in 2000 as the Cherokee Phoenix, and reports on tribal governments, current events, culture, and history.
The Native-owned Mad River Brewery has partnered with the NBA on a craft beer collaboration. The Paskenta Band of Namlaki Indians Mad River Brewery has partnered with the Sacramento Kings ahead of the 2024-25 season. Under the partnership, Mad River's products will be available for in-game promotions and theme nights, concerts, and special sampling events. The brand will also be highlighted with signage in the arena during the Kings games.
Here's Emma to talk more about Hurricane Milton in Florida. Emma?
Well, just less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene ravaged the Florida coastline, we are already facing another natural disaster in Hurricane Milton. Now, currently, Hurricane Milton is sitting at a Category 4 hurricane as it approaches landfall. It's expected to make landfall in the Florida region tonight or early tomorrow morning. Currently, Hurricane Milton has been downgraded from Category 5 to Category 4 and will most likely hit Florida at a Category 3 hurricane. Currently, Hurricane Milton is facing 145 miles per hour winds, and those will start to decrease just a little bit as it approaches the coastline. Also with that, Hurricane Milton is expected to bring 5 to 10 inches of rainfall to those surrounding areas, along with a 10 to 15 foot deadly storm surge, which could cause massive amounts of flooding and damage to those areas. Multiple counties in Florida have already been evacuated, and some will more than likely continue to be evacuated as Hurricane Milton approaches landfall. Here's a tracker of Hurricane Milton currently sitting at about a Category 4 hurricane, and that's only going to decrease just a little bit as it gets further up the coast. Tampa, Daytona Beach, Fort Myers is all of the areas that are going to be most impacted starting Thursday a.m., where those wind speeds will drop to about 130 miles per hour. Still, this is a natural disaster that definitely will have a pretty big impact on some of the communities there. Most notably, the reservations in that area are the Tampa Reservation, the Brighton Reservation, and the Fort Pierce Reservation. These three areas are going to be the most impacted by Hurricane Milton. Taking a look at some of their forecasts in Glades County, where the Brighton Reservation is located, obviously this hurricane is going to be bringing lots of rain and lots of thunderstorms. Those temperatures are also going to be pretty high because that storm is also bringing lots of humidity with it. However, with these large storms and large amounts of rain through the end of this week, by Saturday, Glades County will be experiencing mostly partly cloudy skies. Our temperatures are going to rise there just a little bit, all the way up to 88 degrees. But again, by Saturday, the worst of that hurricane in that area should be pretty much blown through. Heading over now to Hillsborough County, where the Tampa Reservation is, similar weather forecast there, maybe a little bit cooler, 79, 82. Again, lots of rain. However, in Hillsborough County, we're going to be seeing a little bit of a dissipation of that rain as we get into Friday there. Those clouds are going to start to disperse just a little bit, and then by Saturday, you're back to mainly sunny skies. Once again, our temperature is going to be rising that Saturday with that humidity all the way back up to 88. And finally, in St. Lucie County, where the Fort Pierce Reservation is, lots more rain is actually going to be occurring there, as it is the most near the coastline, and that is going to be towards the epicenter of Hurricane Milton. Once again, warm-ish temperatures all the way to about 86 degrees capping today, and that rain is going to be pretty prevalent as we get further into the week, all the way until Saturday, where, similar to Glades County, we're going to be facing more partly cloudy skies, maybe a little bit of sunshine before our weather starts to get back to normal. Now, hopefully Hurricane Milton doesn't do too much damage to these areas, and we wish them all the best of luck in whatever damage Hurricane Milton may cause to them. Zooming back over here in Lawrence, we're taking a look at our extended weekly forecast. Now, once again, it's not feeling quite like fall just yet. This Friday, we're going to be experiencing a high of around 91 degrees, so it might start to feel like summer just a little bit before our temperatures drop back down. And on Sunday, we're going to be experiencing a high of 67 degrees. Now, after Sunday, we're going to be seeing a pretty significant shift in our temperatures all the way down to 64 on Monday before we start to rise just a little bit on Wednesday back to a high of 73. However, as we get further into the weekend and into early next week, we are also going to be seeing some more clouds that are going to be popping up specifically on Tuesday and Wednesday. Not much rain happening though, mainly just clouds, maybe some heavier winds. And as we get further into next week, it may start to feel like fall just a little bit for being into the second week of October. Well, that's all we have for weather. Now we're going to toss it back to you girls in the studio.
Thanks for that, Emma, and many, many prayers and thoughts for those affected by the hurricane. But after the break, Millie Favela joins us to tell us about volleyball, the Billy Mills Classic, and a Haskell softball alumni game. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Indian Country, and welcome back. Millie Favela here to recap the weekly roundup of sports all over Indian Country. The University of Oklahoma's women's volleyball team may be on a 2-game losing streak, but senior libero Callie Kimaha of the Osage Nation is only just getting started. In 1 month, Kimaha racked up 70 digs and moved from 3rd to 2nd in all-time career digs for the Oklahoma Sooners. In OU's matchup against the Razorbacks on Sunday, Kimaha recorded 16 digs for a grand total of 1,445 digs in her career with the Sooners. The Sooners are getting ready to hit the road and take on the 9-6 LSU Tigers this weekend. To watch Kimaha and the Sooners, make sure to tune in to the SEC Network this Friday at 7 p.m. This past Saturday, Haskell Indian Nations University volleyball team played a 5-set game that came down to the wire against Cowley's Ridge College in Paragould, Arkansas. Haskell was up the first 2 sets 25-23 and 25-14 respectively, but the Pioneers came back to win the last 3 sets, 25-21, 25-15, and 15-10. This weekend, Haskell will host the Continental Athletic Conference Volleyball Classic on their home court, the Coffin Sports Complex, this Friday and Saturday. 4 teams, including Haskell, will compete in the tournament. Haskell will host the Billy Mills Classic this Saturday, and both men's and women's cross-country teams will be in attendance. The deadlines for teams to register and submit their rosters is today, October 10th, and the event is free for Haskell administration and tribal citizens. The general public can join in on the Billy Mills celebration for a $10 admission fee and have until Saturday to register. Speaking of hosting tournaments, Haskell will also host the Haskell Classic at Eagle Bend Golf Course on Monday and Tuesday. Putting down the putters and picking up the bats, Haskell's softball team took a tough loss on the road this weekend against Cowley Community College. Cowley has prevailed in all 5 games in matchup history dating back to February 2022. Although Haskell's softball team is now sitting on a 2-game losing streak, they are 4-4-1 for the fall ball season. The team will give a warm welcome to some former athletes this Saturday as they host the alumni game that is sure to be a fun time. We'll be right back after the break. Make sure to stay with us.
Welcome back. Don't forget to tune into the Haskell Hour, a new variety station now streaming on KJHK 90.7 Lawrence. The Haskell Hour segment is brought to you by the Haskell Indian Leader newspaper, one of the oldest student-run newspapers since 1897.
Also, there will be breakfast burritos on Tuesday at the Haskell Cultural Center at 8 a.m. And Haskell's Campus Shop is having a big sale today with shirts only being $5, so stop on by.
Thanks for watching this episode of Good Morning Indian Country.
Don't forget to follow us on social media.
Stay good, Indian Country, and we'll see you next week.